So it's finally here, the day that we've been waiting on all year long. We have a lot of things going on today. Today's broadcast is actually also being shown on FCPS channel 86. So the cameraman here today is actually broadcasting our event to every FCPS school in the county. So every classroom in all of FCPS, all the students in every school in all of FCPS have the opportunity to watch this today. So we're very glad that they can join us. Yeah, no kidding. My name is Ken Youngie, and I'm the very proud principal of Colvin Run Elementary. It is with great pride and excitement that I welcome you to our NASA International Space Station downlink. On behalf of Colvin Run students and staff, we want to welcome everyone who is watching us on FCPS Channel 86. When it comes time for our NASA downlink, please turn your stations to FCPS Channel 87, which is our NASA channel. We also want to make you aware of a schedule change in our program. Due to some unforeseen scheduling conflicts, the German Embassy will be unable to join us today. We look forward to sharing this event with you, and we are glad you chose to help us celebrate this monumental event. It is an honor and privilege to introduce our distinguished guests joining us today. As you will learn, each of our honored guests has a strong commitment to the education of all children and values that we hold here at CRES. We appreciate you being here today and sharing this wonderful event with our students. First up, I'd like to introduce Senator Barbara Favola. She represents the 31st District of Virginia. Senator Favola serves on the Education and Health Committee and is a big supporter of environmental stewardship, taking care of our environment. And this also includes protecting the Chesapeake Bay. Next, I want to introduce Mr. Dan Tani, our keynote speaker. Mr. Tani is an astronaut, a real astronaut, who have served missions up on the International Space Station. Having participated in previous downlinks from the International Space Station, he knows the value of these opportunities to help students learn more about NASA and about space. Mary Beth Loveglass. She's working on the IT problems. Mary Beth Loveglass is the FCPS Assistant Superintendent for Instructional Technology. She helps lead FCPS's effort to promote leading edge technology products and services to support instruction and to create a digital learning environment in which students can learn. All of the computers here, her department helps oversee that all of those run well. Please give her a hand. Barbara Hunter. Barbara Hunter is the FCPS Assistant Superintendent for Communications and Community Outreach. Ms. Hunter helps lead FCPS's effort to maintain collaborative communication and partnerships with parents, employees, businesses, and our community. And as you know here at CRES, that relationship and that building community is what makes our school so successful. We have in the back Mr. Tom Culligan. Tom Culligan is the Legislative Director to Congressman Frank Wolf. Congressman Wolf serves as the chairperson of the Commerce, Justice, Science Appropriations Subcommittee, who is responsible for funding science departments such as NASA so that they can, in turn, allow these downlinks to happen. Mr. Wolf is also a leader on fighting hunger in the U.S. and around the world. I think you'd be very proud of our Stop Hunger Now events, wouldn't you? Next up, Ann Benedicto. Ann Benedicto is the Executive Administrative Assistant to Mr. Marty Smith, our cluster superintendent. I know that a lot of you have seen him walking around our building. She's the one who makes sure that he is where he needs to be, and she makes sure to help him make sure that our schools in Cluster 1 run exactly the way they need to. So thank you, Mrs. Benedicto. Though unable to join us today due to graduations, we also want to thank FCPS Superintendent Dr. Garza, and the school board for their continuous support for the staff and students of FCPS and here at Colvin Run. Also, we need to make sure to thank Mrs. Carmack. As you guys know, she is everywhere in the school, and she does an excellent job of helping me make sure that we have everything that we need and the teachers have everything they need to have the education that you have. So thank you very much. Behind the scenes that you will see shortly, Mrs. Blackwell is going to appear on the screen when it comes time for our downlink. She is going to be welcoming the astronauts when the International Space Station, when the downlink actually starts. So she has been absolutely instrumental in making this happen, as well as Mindy Kelly. Mindy Kelly, there you go. Mrs. Kelly has been working with Mrs. Blackwell and I to originally write this proposal, and submit it to NASA so that we were selected to be part of this downlink. And we're incredibly grateful for all of your work helping support us with the STEAM initiative as well as our NASA event. Thank you. We also want to recognize the support of our PTO, who partnered with our amazing teachers and staff to create meaningful experiences such as this one that you will remember for your time at Colvin Run. Laura Skeen, our past president. Ms. Sophia Berkey, our president next year. Katie Connolly, the VP of Membership. Diane Emery, who is next year's president-elect, who will be our president of PTO the year following. Lori Tempesta, next year's VP of Communications. Angelique Bennett, next year's treasurer. And John Studer, our VP for our wonderful BASA classes that we have. Obviously, I also want to thank, so that this day could happen, as far as the technology, I want to thank Donna Franklin and the entire FCPS IT crew here, helping to make this such a successful event. Thank you very much for all of your work. And of course, we always have to give a big cheer for our CREST teachers. Teachers, staff, the work that you do every single day brings passion to teaching, brings passion to our school, and you are absolutely a fantastic group of professionals that I am so incredibly lucky to be working with. So thank you very much. Today seems like a very odd day. It's a very interesting day for us. It wasn't long ago when the only people who talked to the International Space Station worked at NASA's Mission Control. And here we are, utilizing technology to help us extend our connection to the world and talk with astronauts in space from our own elementary school. We hope that this experience inspires you to learn more about NASA, the space program, or find out if you have a passion for astronomy. Sitting amongst us, we may have future astronauts, flight engineers, or astronomers. As students who grew up using this technology, you've learned how to integrate it seamlessly into your daily lives. You are on-demand learners who understand the importance of using technology, not just to play games or surf the internet, but rather as a tool to communicate, stay connected with friends and family, and solve real-world problems. See, the International Space Station is a great example of how important it is that we stay connected with people around the world. The space station is a collaboration of 15 nations working together to operate a world-class, state-of-the-art orbiting laboratory. Aboard the International Space Station, there are astronauts from different countries working together towards a common goal: to reach for new heights and reveal the unknown so that what we do and learn will benefit all of mankind. I know that you've watched a lot of videos in Mrs. Blackwell's STEAM class and in your classrooms as well, and we've been inspired to hear about scientists here on Earth designing robot arms to help doctors during surgery that are based on the robot arms used on the International Space Station. The experiments performed to help make drinking water clean on the International Space Station are now being used in countries where they didn't previously have an effective way to clean water to drink. We always talk to you about the importance of being a global citizen and the importance of being part of a global society. As you grow up, the world will become more interconnected than it is even now. Look at the person to your right, to your left. Right now, your classmates are the people whom you spend most of your time communicating with. However, as you grow up, the people you connect and collaborate with may be from China, Brazil, Ethiopia, Finland. You may be able to talk about the World Cup. You may be collaborating with them to discover an important medicine, how to land people on a distant planet, maybe Mars, or working together in other ways that will help make our world a better place. At Colvin Run, you are learning to speak Spanish so that you're equipped with the ability to speak at least 2 languages. We know many of you also speak another language in addition to English and Spanish, and these language skills, coupled with your character traits, will help you thrive as a global citizen in the 21st century. FCPS teachers and staff strive to make those important connections between the real world and the classroom, and here at Colvin Run, our wonderful staff and parents continue to find ways to enrich student learning through these authentic experiences. With our new STEAM lab, we had the goal of providing our students with another hands-on, minds-on learning environment. All of our students were able to utilize the STEAM lab as you continue to learn and prepare for success in the 21st century. We are very glad that our STEAM lab has been such a success and that there is a natural connection to what students are learning in the classroom. As part of our focus on enhancing our STEAM activities, with a focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, many of our upper grades utilize the Lego bricks and space kits to simulate the experiments done aboard the International Space Station. Raise your hand if you were part of that. Use the Lego bricks in space. 6th grade? I know a lot of our 6th graders did, some of our 5th grade and 4th grade. When you finish creating your own Lego bricks in space, students watch videos of the astronauts using those kits to demonstrate the effects of microgravity in space and how it compares to gravity here on Earth. These are the authentic STEAM activities that we hope you're going to remember for a lifetime. And we know today's downlink will be another wonderful memory for you. Last year, our 5th and 6th grade students video conference with NASA Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. It was an awesome event that allowed our students to communicate and learn about NASA and different NASA programs. The event was inspiring to many students and staff, and it helped us to ask the question, how else can we use this technology? It was then that we began researching and discovering this opportunity to talk with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. How else can we use this technology? Seems like a simple enough question, don't you think? And it is interesting in discovering, but even though it's a seemingly simple question, it was our interest in discovering what next. What else can we do with this? That brought us to where we are today. In less than 27 minutes, we will have realized the answer to that question. We will be talking live to Commander Stephen Swanson and Flight Engineer Reed Weissman. That natural curiosity is also in all of you. In classrooms, we often hear students asking, why does this happen? Or, I wonder what happens when It is this drive to use what you've learned and already know and apply it to things you don't know that will help you be successful as you get older. FCPS talks a lot about the importance of utilizing our critical and creative thinking skills. And I know that Colvin Run, our teachers and staff, continue to find ways for you to think critically and come up with solutions that may or may not work. Either way, it's a learning experience. You see, that is where true discovery happens. It's about going to the edge of what you already know and trusting that the decisions you make will end up being successful. We are fortunate to be in a world-class system like FCPS. Colvin Run is a great school. And as we continue to work together, we will continue to create wonderful opportunities for our students. Boys and girls, you know how proud I am of you every day. You're smart, hardworking, compassionate, respectful, creative students who have a passion for learning. When I am asked, so, the kids are talking to the International Space Station, what are you going to do next year? I'm going to smile and say, you know what? Here at Colvin Run, the sky's the limit. Thank you very much. I'm proud to welcome our guest speaker. He was an astronaut with NASA from 1996 to 2012. He first visited the International Space Station in 2001 aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour and completed a 4-hour spacewalk before returning to Earth. He next visited the Space Station in 2008 as part of Expedition 16, where he completed 4 more spacewalks during that mission. Between his 2 visits to the International Space Station, he served as an aquanaut on the NEMO 2, which stands for NASA Extreme Environment Missions Operations, aboard the Aquarius Underwater Laboratory. I know you're as excited as I am to hear him talk with us about the International Space Station and share more information about the astronauts we'll be speaking with shortly. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Dan Tani.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, well, I might walk around, but I'll stay here for now. I am really excited to be here, and I met a whole bunch of you already, and for those of you in the other rooms, the kindergarten room, can we hear you? All right, you were pretty loud before, but I'm so excited to share with you what it's like to be in space, and then we get to talk to those guys, and they're really great guys. So let me get started. I have a lot of stuff. I'm going to go a little fast because I want to make sure, of course, we're done in time. I'll stop, of course, when it's downlink time, but I want to get through it. First of all, I want to tell you how, I use the word lucky, but you're fortunate and you're smart and you are privileged to have the opportunity to talk to the space station crew. There are thousands and thousands of requests every year from schools that want to talk to the space station crew, and they do about 1 or 2 a month. And a lot of those are to the schools that the astronauts' kids go to. So you have a real privilege today. Now, I know you've been studying and hearing about the space station astronauts that are on the station now, Reed and Steve, and so here I am, and you must be asking yourself, who the heck is this guy, right? So just a little bit about myself. My name is Dan Tani, and I grew up in Chicago. I am a civilian, which means I didn't serve in any military service. I'm not from the Army or Navy or Marines. I went to public elementary school and high school and college studying engineering, and I became an engineer for my profession. I got selected in 1996 when I was about 35 years old to go to NASA and become an astronaut. It's a job, so you apply for it and you get selected. My class is called the Sardines, and I can tell you about that sometime later. I have 2 space missions, one, as you heard, on what's called STS, Space Transportation System. That's a shuttle mission 108 in 2001 for 12 days and went to the space station. And then 5 years later, I became part of Expedition 16. We named the expedition, so I was part of the 16th crew to join the space station. These guys were on the 40th expedition, so they're, whatever that is, 26 after me. And I spent 4 months on the space station there. I did 6 spacewalks in my career, 4 when I was on the station, 1 on each of my shuttle missions when I went up. And then 2 years ago, I left NASA and I joined a company down the road here called Orbital Sciences. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Orbital Sciences too. ISS, International Space Station, I assume that you've learned a lot about it, but I just want to give you some brief overview things about the space station that are pretty cool. This looks like a boring business chart, but it just says that the ISS was built by 16 countries. We have 5 different launch sites around the world, from Florida, Wallops Island, about a 3-hour drive from here, Baikonur in Kazakhstan, Tanegashima in Japan, and French Guiana. And on the bottom there it says there's 8 control centers. There are 8 mission control centers that run the space station. The space station itself is about the size of a football field, and what seems like a silly statistic, it weighs about 1 million pounds. Even though it's weightless, it doesn't weigh anything up there, but when you think of 1 million pounds, you got to think we had to take it from the Earth and put it in a rocket and get it up there, and we were able to lift 1 million pounds into orbit and put it all together. When you're inside where the astronauts are, the internal volume of the space station is about the same volume as 4 small passenger jets, 4 737 jets. That's about, so you can kind of get an idea of, it's not, people think of space and they think it's really tight and crowded. It's not. There's a lot of room up there. And then most of the room is in this central corridor, and those are the pressurized volumes. That's where the astronauts will be. The big thing that goes across that holds the big solar arrays is on the outside. Okay? It's a very, very complicated machine. There's about 1.5 million lines of computer code written on all sorts of computers all over the thing. The thing is written by, when you think of a spaceship, you think of all sorts of switches and knobs and dials. The space station doesn't have any of that. It's all run by computers in cabinets and in laptops. The interface to the astronauts are laptops. And your principal mentioned something that was very interesting, and it's very groundbreaking for the space station. See, we want to go to Mars. That's what we really want to do. The space station is trying to learn about technologies and things that we need to go to Mars. And one of the problems is if we bring people to Mars, we have to bring a lot of water to Mars because you drink a lot of water, right? So we don't have the technology now to take a spacecraft and send it to Mars with people and enough water to feed them, right? So we have things called the Environmental Control Life Support System. That has your pressure and oxygen and all that stuff, and water. And so every morning, the astronauts generally drink coffee, kind of like they do down here. What happens a couple hours later? Yeah, got to find a bathroom, right? So, well, that's wasted water. That's water that we used to throw away in the old days, a couple years ago. We can't throw that away. We need that water. So we have a thing called regenerative eclipse, where we take that waste urine, we put it through a special machine, and we turn yesterday's coffee into tomorrow's coffee. And that's the only way we'll be able to get to Mars is with technology like that. Hey, when you talk to them today, ask them about it. Ask them how it tastes. It tastes great. Okay, so I showed you the outside of the space station. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the inside of the space station. I'm going to fly through from one end to the other end. Now, when I was there, when I took this, it wasn't completely built. There's a couple more modules from when I was there. So there are things that you can see about the space station, like there are cords and computers everywhere. There's also bungees everywhere because everything floats in space, so everything's got to be tied down. You can't just put a pencil on the table. You have to Velcro it or find a way to bungee it down. This is the storage, like a closet module on the space station. Oh yeah, there's no floor, there's no ceiling on the space station, right? Because there's no up or down. So you can be, your down is wherever your feet are, and your feet can be anywhere. We're going through different modules. Here's a whole bunch of bags filled with stuff, T-shirts and pencils and printer paper. And then here comes a spacesuit getting ready for a spacewalk there. Those are emergency oxygen bottles there on the side here. There's Peggy. She was my commander doing some exercise in the U.S. lab. There's a medical locker down there with the red X. The bike's pretty cool because there's a window right under it, and you can look at the window, through the window as you're biking. And if you can bike for 90 minutes, you can go all the way around the world. Pretty cool. This is a new module that we had brought up when I launched on the Space Shuttle Discovery, and so we were just outfitting it, getting it ready for the other modules to join it. You have to learn a skill when you're up there, and since everything floats, that skill is how to get around. You don't walk. Somebody asked me about spacewalking, which was interesting. You don't walk on spacewalks. You float like you float for everything. And you have to learn how to do this. It's a skill. It takes a couple weeks, really, because as you're learning, you're bumping into stuff, kicking people and expensive computers, and you're a real nuisance until you can get good at getting around inside. Now, the outside of the space station, just checking my time. Outside of the space station, we have to do things outside, so we have to do spacewalks. There's Peggy doing a spacewalk with me. Here's another view of the outside. It's very complicated. There's all sorts of stuff out there. if you can see, that long stick is a robot arm, and at the end of that robot arm, we have an astronaut, so we can go fix things that are far away on the space station. Spacewalking is really, really cool. You put on a spacesuit, you're pressurized up, and you get to go outside and be your own satellite for about 8 hours. Okay, so, man, there is a lot of stuff inside the space station because it's got to bring all your spare and replacement parts. You have to have all your science you're going to do, all your food, your water, your oxygen. It has to be. We don't get FedEx, so we have to keep all the stuff up there, and it's crowded. So think of this: every year with 6 people, we have to have about 6,000 meals brought to us. That's the equivalent of 500 pairs of socks and whatever, pants and underwear, all that stuff, 10 reams of paper. How do we do it? How do we get it there? Well, it involves your backyard. So if you drove about 3 hours up out the coast, you get to Wallops Island, okay? And that's on the shore of Virginia, right on the Atlantic coast. And we launch, oops, there we go. We launch a rocket called the Antares rocket, made by Orbital Sciences, right down the street. That's where I work for now. And on top of that is a cargo ship called the Cygnus. And the Cygnus brings cargo to the space station. There's the robot arm again, and it'll grapple us. Okay? And what's really cool is this: they bring food and science equipment to the space station, and this is built and controlled. We have mission control 10 miles from this gym, and we directly, right here, service the space station. And through the Cygnus vehicle, we bring thousands of pounds of cargo to the space station every year. So you should be proud that you live from this area. All right, let me keep going. I want to show you some views of space. We're not going to probably look out the window when we're talking to the astronauts, but they might be peeking out the window because we go through some beautiful things. This is the Bahamas off of Florida. The water is so incredibly blue, and the sand of the ocean floor is so incredibly brilliantly white that you can see little differences in the depths of the ocean, and you can see how the water flows through those little islands and makes these incredible patterns. This is in Australia. This is an erosion pattern. The red is a mineral that's inherent in the ground, but then you can see the lake is evaporating and leaving its mineral deposit. Just spectacularly beautiful. We see a lot of things that are not naturally made, that are man-made, and cities. We see a lot of cities. We like to look for familiar things. The way to find this city, or the way to identify this city best, is to find that little building in the middle that has 5 sides. So here's Washington, D.C. with the Potomac River going right through it. And if you know your geography, you can find the White House and the Capitol and the Lincoln Monument. I was always on the lookout for D.C. when I was up there. I'm going to show you a quick movie. This is a time lapse. This is faster than the crew would really see, but we're going to fly down the west coast of the United States. Those city lights, that's Vancouver and Seattle. And then down here, these bright lights here are San Francisco, and then Los Angeles, and that's Las Vegas, that bright dot that just went off. And we're flying down the west coast of the Americas, and look at that beautiful thunderstorm going by, and that's what lightning looks like from space. This is Mexico City, and the land goes off to the east while we're flying down, and again, you can see all of the thunderstorms, and then South America comes back to us, and then you can see the clouds that are coming in from the west. They stop because they can't get over the peak of the Andes Mountains there. And so it creates a very firm line. At night, you can see the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, which is spectacular. You should ask the crew about that. When you look out, it's ghostly, like a ghost flying below you. It's spectacular. Okay, so you're going to talk to these guys. They're Expedition 40, the 40th crew to live on the space station. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background about these guys. Okay. First is Steve Swanson, okay? Steve Swanson. But you know what? I don't know this guy as Steve Swanson. Nobody in the astronaut office knows this guy as Steve Swanson. To everybody, he's Swanee, all right? So you can call him Swanee. He's from Colorado, Colorado Springs. He's a civilian also, no military experience, trained as an engineer, worked at NASA as an engineer. He's the class of 1998, so he's been an astronaut for, that's 15 years, 16 years. And his class is called the Penguins. We named them the Penguins. We were there before him. We named them Penguins because there were so many of us that we thought these guys would never fly. So we called them the flightless birds, the Penguins. He's had 2 shuttle flights. He's an outstanding spacewalker. He's known in the office as an outstanding spacewalker, one of the smartest guys in the crew. And he launched to the space station this time in March 25th, so that makes him, I think, a 3-month veteran so far, and he has a spacewalk. You're also going to talk to Reed Wiseman. Again, when you say Reed Wiseman down in Houston, people are like, who? Tonto. He's Tonto. Tonto's right here from Baltimore, and he's a Navy guy. He flew F-14s and F-18s. He's part of the astronaut class of 2009. He's like the 3rd guy in his class to fly. So he was selected out of the real select people that became astronauts to fly early. And he launched on May 20th, so he's up there for less than a month. Oh, also, he tweets a lot, so you might want to go find his tweet. All right? We got 10 minutes. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Okay, so how'd they get there? Big selection process, okay? The class of 98, Swanee was one of 25 astronauts selected that year. There are thousands and thousands of people that want to be astronauts, and they pick astronauts about every other year. And so out of those couple thousand, Swanee was one of the 25. And Tonto was in the class of 2009, one of 9 chosen that year. So very select. Once you get selected to be an astronaut, you go through basic training, and then you get selected for a crew. And then you start your training for space station. It takes 3 years of training to go to the space station. And that's mainly in Houston, but we spend a lot of time in Russia, Japan, Canada, Germany, because it's the International Space Station. Lots of contributions, so lots of things we have to learn about the international partners. There's classroom work. It's mostly classroom work, really. We have to learn about how the space station works. There's some robotics work we do with computers to practice robotics. We practice emergency simulations, emergency scenarios. We practice spacewalking in a huge swimming pool down at Houston at the Johnson Space Center, where we get in suits, we get in the water, and so we feel like we're floating. And we do this, it's called pogo. Let's see. Go. These pictures are big, so they take a long time to load. Well, fortunately, we're out of time anyway. My remote's not working. All right. Technology. Who's worried about technology, guys? Okay, so here's what to expect when we talk to the crew, because we're going to do that in just a few minutes, right? 5 minutes. So actually, you know what? Can you hit my space bar? Can you hit my my forward? Or there's probably an alert that came up. Can you just put my alert away? Okay, there we go. I think I'm ready. There we go. Yeah, I just want to show you this. We call it pogo. It's goofy looking, but it's important. And we practice using tools in weightlessness the best we can do in Houston, and that's all we can do. But it is important to learn how to use your tools in weightless. Okay, so how did these guys get to the space station? Well, they launched, right? So they launched out of Kazakhstan, which is that dark green country surrounded by Russia to the north, China to the southeast, and the other stands to the southwest. And because right now, without American launch vehicles, we use the Soyuz launch vehicle to launch into space. And so the 3 of them, there's a crew of 3, get into a very small vehicle and are blasted off into space. It's a spectacular launch, and it's a real privilege to be able to launch in the Russian vehicle. So here's what to expect. First of all, what time is it? You're talking to the crew. What time is it for them? Well, right now it's 12 o'clock in Washington, D.C. The crew lives off Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. Okay, and it's 4 o'clock GMT, 4 in the afternoon. So this is the end of their afternoon. They're getting ready to wrap up their day and have dinner. What day is today? Tuesday. So they're not looking forward to a day off for a while. Where are they now? Well, I looked, and this is a predict earlier today, but I think they're going to be flying up South America and then into Europe as we talk to them. So this is actually a picture from the ground of the space station flying over. So just think about this when we talk to them for the 20 minutes that we have them. The space station goes 17,500 miles an hour, okay? So that means in 20 minutes they're going to go, the 20 minutes that we're talking to them, they'll go 5,830 miles. And just to put that into context, if you've ever flown to Hawaii from here, that's 1,000 miles less than the distance that they're going to travel today. Okay, when we talk to them, okay, our voice has to go first to Houston, then to White Sands, New Mexico, then up to a TDRS satellite, which is 22,000 miles away, then to the space station, and then back through the TDRS, down to White Sands, blah, blah, blah. That's a long way, okay? So there's going to be a delay when we talk to them. You're going to ask a question, and it's going to be a minute, or it's going to be a couple seconds before we get an answer back, okay? So expect a 2 to 4 second delay. It'll sound kind of funny, and you have to practice that skill, okay? Most of all, we're going to have a lot of fun. I mean, it is really a cool thing to talk to the astronauts. So hopefully we're all set up. We've got the connection made, and I guess we'll have the video and the audio up, and we'll talk to the crew. Do I have one more slide? Time for one more slide, or how are we doing? Okay, hold on. Because I had one, since I have some so just one more minute, it's my opportunity to give you homework. The homework is go see the space station, all right? This is predicts for today, okay? Tomorrow, the 18th, you're looking for a big negative number in that second column. See that where it says minus 3.4? That's really bright. I didn't tell you this, but if you can get your parents to let you stay up until 10:34 tomorrow night and go outside in the space station, go outside, you'll see the space station fly almost directly overhead, and you'll see Swanee and Tonto and Alex and Sasha, all those guys, Max, fly overhead, and it'll be really cool. So there's places to go see this on the web and find. Sometimes there are better times than others. It happens to be late tonight, but it's a fantastic pass tomorrow. So don't tell your parents I told you so. All right. Have some fun today. All right. Thank you.
We did all of our timing that we possibly could do. And just, here we go.
Station, this is Colvin Run Elementary. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Good morning. I am STEM teacher Susan Blackwell, and we're incredibly excited about this opportunity to speak to you. We've been learning all about the International Space Station, and we have students here ready to ask you questions. Our first question is from Kavya.
Hi, my name is Kavya Vidge, and I'm 13 years old. My question is, what are some recent experiments you have done, and will they help us on Earth?
Well, thanks. That's a good question. We do a lot of science up here. Recently, I've been working on one that is trying to figure out how plant cells detect gravity. And that way, the plant cells go thicker in the direction against gravity so they can actually grow up. If we understand this better, we can hopefully grow plants more efficiently and make more food on Earth.
Hi, my name is Ella. I'm 6 years old. My question is, when did you know you wanted to be an astronaut, and how did you become one?
Well, I guess most of my life I thought I wanted to be an astronaut, but I didn't know I really wanted to become an astronaut until I was a teenager in high school, and I was watching some airplanes fly over, and I saw a space shuttle launch, and from there my future was sealed. I thought flying into space would be a great thing to do with my life.
Hi, my name is Emma Mobley, and I am 9 years old, and my question is, how do you feel when the spaceship takes off for space?
Good question, Emma. How do I feel when the spaceship takes off for space? Well, I'm probably maybe a little bit nervous, but not much. I'm also very happy at the same time because I get to go to space. When I look at it, it's kind of like when you go down a roller coaster ride and you get that first part that's really steep and it goes click, 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 click. Just about when you get to the top, you know it's coming, you know it's going to be fun, but you're just a little anxious. That's kind of how I felt.
Hi, my name is Isha Moscari, and I am 10 years old. My question for you is, what's it like living with other people from the International Space Station? Is it like having a roommate in college?
It's like having a roommate in college, but it's even better. Right now we have our German crewmate Alex Gerst coming in to say hi. We also have 3 Russian crew members. They couldn't be with us. They're down doing some work, but it's great. We're all good friends, and it's great to learn from other cultures. So I'll let Alex say a quick hi.
Hello, everybody down there. As you can see, we are a very kind of nicely mixed crew from all different countries. We have Russians, Americans, of course. I'm German, and it's really nice to live with different people here because it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of jokes, and we learn from each other a lot. So I was told you guys speak German. Is that right?
Do you speak German?
Hi.
We have one who speaks German who just raised his hand. I'll have him come over.
Very good. Let's have a conversation in German. Wie geht's dir? Viele Grüße von der Raumstation.
Hello.
Speak German?
Yes. Hello.
Speak German?
I'm a hello. I'm a hello.
Hallo.
Wie geht es dir? Wie geht es dir?
Vielen Dank. Mir geht es gut. Wie geht es dir?
Gut.
Das freut mich. Dann kannst du deinen Klassenkameraden ein bisschen Deutsch beibringen, so wie ich meinen beiden Crewkameraden hier auch Deutsch beibringe. I was teaching German to these guys. Maybe they want to try out what they've already learned.
Oh, no.
All right, thanks, man. You get back to work.
We're ready for the next question.
And I'll go back to work.
Okay, thank you. We have another question here.
Hi, my name is Sophie Fredericks. I'm 6 years old, and this is my question. With all the buttons on the space station, do you know what they all do, or are you responsible for just a section of them?
That's a good question.
That's a great question.
I don't know what all the buttons do, but luckily we have people on the ground and mission controls all over the world who help us figure that out. So if I have a question, I can just ask them, and there's experts on the ground that know everything about this vehicle.
Hello, my name is Alex Chung, and I'm 11 years old. My question is, when you step outside of the International Space Station into the vacuum of space, do you feel vulnerable even with your gear?
I'm going to let Steve answer that one because he's done 5 spacewalks.
It's a good question. You feel a little vulnerable because you know you are in a spacesuit, but the outside that spacesuit is the vacuum of space, and that is a little bit of a dangerous spot. But it's also a wonderful thing to do. The view is fantastic, and we can't wait to go out again. Hopefully, we'll get to go out in a couple months.
Hi, my name is Isabel Butler. I'm 9 years old. Is there an item that you wish were on the International Space Station that is not currently aboard? What would it be?
I would have to say a shower. I would love to take a shower. That would be fantastic. But in space, with microgravity, really without gravity, it's impossible for us to take a shower. So that's the one thing I wish we had.
Hi, Hi, my name is Casey Waslowski, and when you are about to go up into space, do the instructors who teach you tell you stories about people who didn't follow the rules to make you follow them in space? Are they funny or scary?
Oh, yeah.
You definitely get stories, I would say, about people who didn't do what they were supposed to do. And most of them are good examples of what not to do in space. And things usually go wrong when that happens. So we learn from those very well from that kind of example.
And people will learn from us.
Hi, my name is Niels Oliver. I'm 7 years old. My question is, why does space have no gravity?
That's a really good question, because actually, even though he floats here, as you can see he's doing this, we actually do have gravity here, and that's an interesting little concept. Can you hold this for a second there, Reed?
Absolutely. Steve's going to get a globe of the Earth here.
So, as you see, this is the Earth, and what we do, we're in orbit around the Earth, meaning we go around the Earth. And the idea is we are going so fast this way around the Earth that as we fall, we miss the Earth. So we're just kind of going really fast. We're going 17,500 miles an hour this way. And as we fall, we just keep missing the Earth. So we're actually in a free fall the whole time. So we do have gravity, but we're in a free fall, and we can't feel the gravity.
My name is Caitlin Massey. I am 11 years old, and my question is, did someone or something inspire you to become an astronaut?
You got that one.
Sure, I think just watching, I grew up, I was about your age in the middle 1980s, and I watched all the astronauts launch on the space shuttle. I wasn't alive when we went to the moon, but that still was really something neat that was in the blood of all Americans, was going to the moon. And so between that and watching all these astronauts fly on the space shuttle, I think those really inspired me to become an astronaut. I remember that very well from my elementary and middle school days, watching the space shuttle launch. I loved those events.
Hi, my name is Sophia Kearns, and Hi, my name is Sophia Kearns, and I am 8 years old. My question is, what happens when you make a paper airplane and use it to fly?
That's another good question. So I just happen to have a paper airplane all ready to go. So I don't really know for sure. You know, definitely, because I can just hold the paper airplane here and let it go, and it's still, there you go, right to the side there. And so it still floats. It doesn't need to even throw it to have it float in the air. But let's see what happens when we do throw it. So it still goes. It just doesn't need to actually go float up. And I actually think the wind, we have little air currents up here from the fans, and I think that causes more of a difference in where it goes than anything else up here.
Hi, my name is Mia Parnaby, and I'm 12 years old. I was wondering, are there any side effects or symptoms to a decrease in muscle mass and bone density?
That's a great question. We work out about 2 hours every single day up here so that we won't lose bone density and we won't lose muscle mass. And I think I'll have to wait until I get home to answer this question. But I would say we've got some great systems up here that prevent those sorts of things. So when we get back, hopefully we'll be in pretty good shape.
Hi, my name is Andy Powell, and I'm 8 years old. With no outside air pressure, how do your spacesuits keep air pressure on you when you are wearing it?
Well, we have oxygen in our spacesuits, and it stays, as you breathe the oxygen, of course, you create carbon dioxide, and we have to get rid of the carbon dioxide too. So we have a little system with a filter that takes that out, and as you breathe that down, the pressure decreases in your suit, and more oxygen is added into your suit, and that keeps you all safe while you're outside on a spacewalk.
Evelyn Young, and I am 10 years old. My question is, do you have a favorite object on the ISS that we don't usually have on Earth?
We don't usually have on Earth.
That's a great question, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here, and I want to reverse your question, because there's one thing that we don't have on the ISS that makes this absolutely fantastic for me, and you've been watching it the whole day. But we really don't feel the effect of gravity. And so Steve can walk on the ceiling or the walls. I sleep on the ceiling. Alex, who you saw earlier, sleeps on the floor. And without the effect of gravity, everything becomes interesting. Just eating M&Ms becomes something very difficult, but it's always fun and it provides a lot of good laughs.
Hi, my name is Trevor Streetbar. My question is, does music get affected, or in other words, sound different in space?
Yeah. Well, where we are in the space station, the atmosphere is just like it is on ground. We have the same composition, the same pressure. So here it sounds the same. But if you're outside, like in a spacewalk, things do sound different, actually, because you have such a low pressure in the spacesuit. So it actually is a little different then, but in here I think it's exactly the same.
Hi, my name is Julia Kearns, and I'm 10 years old. My question is, in the space station, how long did it take to get your training, and what did you study in college for your major?
So my training to get to the space station lasted about 2.5 years, and I have to say that all 2.5 years I had gravity. And so the first day that I got up to the space station without gravity, it was as if I had never trained for anything. Everything was confusing and difficult, but now that I've been up here for almost a month, everything kind of feels like home, so that was great. And my major in college was engineering, and specifically computers and microprocessor design.
Hi, I'm Matthew Fitzgerald, and I'm 12 years old. My question for you is, how do you celebrate your birthdays in space?
Well, that's a good question. One of our crewmates, the Russian, had his birthday while we were up here, and we had a little party for him. That's about all you really can do is have a party, and we gave him gifts. Of course, we didn't have many gifts to give. We not like we brought much up, so we gathered up all his favorite foods we could find and presented him with that for the evening. So he had the best meal he could possibly have up here, and that's what we gave him for his birthday.
Hi, my name is Ellie O'Brien, and my question for you is, how do plants grow in space?
Well, at first we had trouble growing plants in space, but Steve just finished an experiment about a week ago where he grew some amazing lettuce. It got just as big as on Earth, in fact, maybe even a little bit bigger, and we weren't really supposed to eat it, but it tasted fantastic if I had sampled it. No. And then one of our Russian crew members just grew a beautiful onion. And so it is possible. They do grow. And so far to us, it looks like they're at least as delicious as they are down on Earth.
Hi, my name is Maya Kanan. I'm 9 years old. We watched a video that showed astronauts after their return to Earth, and they were being carried from the spacecraft. Why can't you walk on Earth, and how long does it take to return to normal?
That's a good question. Everybody's a little different in how they adapt going back to Earth and how they adapt coming up here. There's two issues we have there. One is the strength of the muscles and the bones, and that's what we're working on to make sure that's all good. And I think we've got that one pretty much under control. But the second issue is called kind of your balance system, and how well does that work? Because when we're up here, there's a thing in your inner ear that helps you keep your balance when you're on the ground, and it senses gravity. While we're up here, it doesn't really work so well, and it kind of has to get out of the equation. We go back to ground, and it has to start processing again and put it all together again, and it kind of makes you a little wobbly and dizzy when you first come back. And that's why they don't walk right away. But some people, within 15 minutes, are walking around fine, and some people, it takes a couple days before they're walking around fine.
Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm 53 years old. And I was looking at your Expedition 40 patch, and I noticed there's a cargo ship on it, but it's not the really good-looking one that brings all the cargo up to you. And I'm wondering why you chose the lesser of the two cargo ships to put on your patch.
Dan, 53 years old from Virginia or Maryland, I forget exactly where. I'm going to have to let Commander of the Space Station, Steve Swanson, answer your very, very difficult question.
Dan, it's good to hear your voice. I hope things are going well. And Dan, the reason that one's on there versus the other fantastic vehicle that is going to come up here soon is that one maybe one day could carry people.
Hi, my name is Madeline Assad. I'm 12 years old, and I was just wondering, why do you have that stuffed animal giraffe up there?
I have two little girls, one 8 and one 6 years old, so I love talking to all of you because you all remind me of them and I miss them. But this is their toy. It was the first toy that my 8-year-old ever got. And when we launch in a Russian spaceship, that's how we get up here. We launch with the Russians. And they have this long tradition since 1961 of hanging a stuffed animal with them in their capsule when they launch. And so my commander, he knew I had two little girls, and he said, if you want to fly one of their stuffed animals in our spaceship, then that would be great. And so he let me do it, and now I keep it with me. And I figured since we were speaking to some younger students today that it would be great to have Giraffity along to kind of demonstrate weightlessness. But for me, it's a great keepsake, and I love having him up here.
Hi, my name is Ethan Tucker, and I'm 12 years old. What has been your favorite experience up in space?
Favorite experience? That's another good question. Just being here is a great experience. Again, as Reed pointed out, the floating in here is just fantastic. You really, the way I look at it, it's being a kid and finding the best playground you could ever find in the world, and you get to live there. So it's a really fun time with this. But the other event probably, though, was doing a spacewalk, and that was another fantastic thing to do. That's probably, those are my two big ones.
Thank you. We've had a great time talking to you.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Colvin Run Elementary School. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communication.
That was awesome. You guys, first of all, you are a really good audience. Those questions were spectacular. I really liked watching Swanee and Tonto react to the good questions. And so I bet that they had a lot of fun today, and they'll remember talking to Colvin Run. So really great job, you guys. You did an awesome job, and it was a real pleasure for me to come and talk to you and meet many of you, and I even know a couple of you from the neighborhood and from other teams and stuff. So thank you very much. Thanks for having us. Thanks for doing a great job for NASA. Thank you.
So what do you think? Did you love it? I don't know elementary schools that get to talk to astronauts in the International Space Station, but here at Colvin Run we do. I just wanted to obviously take a little time. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. You did an absolutely fantastic job, as we knew you would. the students in the cafeteria. I hope everything got figured out so you were able to hear the downlink the way that you needed to as well. So incredibly proud that you guys were able to make this happen. Again, a huge thank you to Mrs. Blackwell and Mrs. Kelly for making this happen for us. And again, for our VIPs, for our special guests, thank you very much for coming to Colvin Run. We know your time is incredibly tight. We're competing with 7 graduations today, so I know from here you guys are going on to other things. I know that we had some of our Colvin Run family who couldn't be here today because Langley graduation is going on at the exact same time. And I want to make sure that to let you know that we've been able to tape this event, so we'll be able to make sure that whoever has not been able to see it will be able to see it. Staff, thank you very much for all of your work getting the students prepared, having them watch the videos, working through the questions. This has been an absolutely fantastic event, and when it's all said and done on Staff News, you're going to see a reflection. There are a couple options for the reflections as well as a Google form. So students, if you want to be able to collaborate with other people and use technology to complete your, use a Google form and to complete your reflection, by all means, that is an option for us. We are finishing about 20 minutes early, which is phenomenal because we have, I believe you guys haven't eaten in a couple hours, am I right? So what we're going to have is we are going to have lunches be very orderly today. For lunches, we are going to start with kindergarten and first grade. As soon as kindergarten and first grade get through, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this on the loudspeaker because people are going to be in different places throughout the school. So teachers, if you want to head to your classrooms, you may. If you want to stay here, you may. We're going to have kindergarten go through, grab their lunches, and head outside. It's a beautiful day. Then we'll go 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then 6th. Parents, thank you very much for coming in and being part of the event. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.